Okay, let's see if I can get this IG going or IG live going. Okay, I see it. Told you guys I'm going to start doing both. And here we go. There we go. I think this is good enough. I hate that I am. I'm going to try to sit this way so that I can look at both, even though I feel like. Oh, let's see. Even though I feel like my. There we go. I think that is good. I think I'm good on both. I wish I could like have this looking a little more. I guess that's fine. You guys will get used to me looking over this way. I'm going to try and look at both, but um, I am on both IG Live as well as YouTube Live. Welcome, everyone, and good evening. Welcome to another episode of Ask Dr. K. Think I am all set and ready to go. Um, it has been a long day, guys. I actually been so tired. So I'm gonna grab a pillow. But I've actually been super tired this evening, so going to get into this episode of Ask Dr. K. Let me bring this down some. Go this way, maybe it'll be easier. Yeah, that looks better. And I'll probably set this here so that it is at least a little bit better way to be able to look at it. But you guys know the drill. We're going to go through the questions that I received this week, or three questions that I received this week. Um, and they're interesting questions. I think all three of them are interesting. One of them is really interesting. And I think is actually the last one. So you guys will hopefully stay tuned for that one. But as you guys know, we do this every week. Ask Dr. K live every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that's where we are right now. Just, jumping into these questions. Have my water next to me. I'm going to try to keep my energy up, guys. I feel like I need to maybe do this earlier in a day, but I don't know because I feel like even if I was to do it earlier, like I would just still be tired. So it's either just tired from the day or tired because it's time to go to sleep. So I don't know that there's really any good time to actually do this. Bluesy, stop licking, please. That is the most annoying noise ever, is him licking. You stop licking or I'm going to put you out. You cramping my style, buddy. So, anywho, so we do this every week, every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Just going to jump into these questions. And if we have any time afterwards, if there's someone on who wants to pose a question that I can answer in real time, we'll definitely do that. But for now, why are you shaking? For now, I'm just going to jump into the three questions that I have. So, the first question. Dr. K, I broke up with my girlfriend a few months ago. I blocked her on all social media and everything. She's very toxic. I could tell you some stories. Anyway, one of my friends is still friends with my ex, and she is always telling my ex my business. I told my friend a few times to stop talking about me with my ex, but she keeps doing it. I'm about to unfriend my friend in real life. What should I do? I'm about to unfriend my friend in real life. That's really funny. So, let me see. You had a girlfriend or your ex that you broke up with, but your ex is still friends with another one of your friends. And that particular friend, why are you shaking? That particular friend is sharing your business with your ex via your social media platform. So what I'm assuming is if you post something, then your friend is telling your ex that for example, if you go on a date, your friend is telling your ex that you've gone on a date, and you keep telling your friend to stop talking about you to your ex, which makes perfect sense. I don't know why your friend don't get that. Now you said that you told your friend a few times to stop talking about you to your ex, but she keeps doing it. I don't know. Maybe your friend don't understand the seriousness of maybe the level of toxicity in within a relationship. You said it was a toxic relationship, so maybe your friend doesn't really understand how toxic the relationship was. So, not that you have to really get into details, you shouldn't have to. Like, your friend should respect your wishes to not talk about you to someone that you used to date or used to see, especially if you block them. Like, you block them for a reason because you don't want them in your business. You don't want them, scrolling through your socials, trying to figure out what you're doing and where you are. So it makes sense that you would have blocked them. But I think maybe being really clear with your friend, like, hey, look, I don't want you sharing my business with this person. I've asked you time and time again, maybe as simple as having that kind of conversation. I asked you time and time again. If you can't respect my wishes, then I'm not going to be able to, then I'm going to block you on my social media and probably block you out of my life if you can't respect my wishes. I don't think that that's an unfair thing to ask for your friend to not share your business with someone that you are no longer dating. So I would say, yeah, for sure, make sure your friend understands that you're serious about it. And it may mean that you need to block them from your block them from your socials as well, especially if they can't not put your business out with someone that you're no longer friends with or no longer in relationship with. It seems simple enough, but if your friend is friends with this person, um, then they probably understand the toxic traits of that person, and maybe not. Sometimes people have a really good um, tendency of hiding how toxic they are to other people. So maybe your friend doesn't know how toxic your relationship was. So you may, want to have that conversation to tell your friend how toxic the relationship was, with the hopes that they will stop sharing your information, and then let them know if they can't stop sharing your information, then it's going to impact your relationship and your friendship with them. And if they want to maintain a relationship with you, then they should honor your wishes and not share your information. So I don't know why that's difficult. Let me see. Broke up with my friend months ago, blocked on social media. I'm trying to read it again, make sure I captured everything, and that I addressed it. Because this was, for me, this feels very cut and dry. Yeah, it feels very cut and dry. I think, setting expectation with your friend is very fair. And if they can't abide by that, then I don't see any reason why you should continue to maintain a friendship with them, or at least a close friendship with them, where they get to see your personal life and different things that's going on in your life. So yeah, I think that feels very cut and dry to me. I'm just trying to look through and see if I missed anything. Yeah, what should I do? Just talk to your friend and be very clear and honest about how you feel and how them sharing your business makes you feel. It makes you feel exposed. It makes you feel, um, like someone is what is the word? Like you're being not stalked isn't the real word. Isn't the word I'm thinking of. But just when someone is like tracking you, like your movements and trying to know what you got going on and where you are and all that stuff. Like nobody wants to feel watched. I don't know if that's the right word either, but yeah, seems pretty cut and dry. Just let your friend know that you don't want them sharing your information, or anything that's going on in your life with this other person, and and just let them know that you really want them to respect and honor your wishes. That seems very cut and dry to me. So hopefully that response is good enough. Yeah, and then if you're going to cut them off, be honest about it. And just be honest about it. I think that's the best thing that you can do. um that was really quick. So it's funny when I get questions like that for me feels very cut and dry. Sometimes I'm trying to think, or am I missing something? Is there a bit of advice that I may should give that maybe I'm overlooking, just being in the moment and thinking it through? But this one feels very cut and dry to me, guys. So I don't know, I'm not gonna belabor it just for the sake of trying to pull more out of it. I think it really is cut and dry. Your friend right now has access to you that your other friend doesn't have. That's like someone knowing things about you that I think the word is gossiping. It feels very gossipy. So if someone is telling someone something about you that they otherwise wouldn't know, that feels very gossipy. So I would present it to my friend in that way. It's like, I don't like you gossiping about me to other people. And then maybe that way, putting that kind of spin on it will make them see it the way that you see it. And realize, that you're serious, and recognize it the way that you recognize it as as a invasion of your privacy even. So it's gossipy and it's an invasion of your privacy. So that feels very cut and dry. So hopefully that response is helpful. Yeah. And if your friend values your friendship, then they for sure will stop spreading, information about you to people who don't have access to to your life and, to your social media platform. So hopefully that was helpful. Um, okay. Oh, this was the question that I felt like was really intense. Um, yeah, this one is this one is interesting. So, okay. So, dear Dr. K, I met a guy and we've been seeing each other for about 2 months. I just learned through a mutual friend that he's married. When I confronted him about it, he didn't deny it. Instead, he said that he is married and he's not leaving his wife, but he would still like to see me if I am okay with it. I was devastated. I couldn't believe that he is married, and I can't believe that he wants to still see me. The problem is, I really like him and I really want to continue seeing him. I've been ignoring his calls and texts because I don't know what to say. I don't want to date a married man, but I really, really like him. By the way, he is 20 years older than me. I'm 26 and he is 45. Please tell me what to do! Exclamation point. Um Again, feels very cut and dry, feels very obvious to me, but I'm going to kind of peel this back because this is very layered. Um the first point that is very obvious to me is the level of dishonesty in this man. The fact that he didn't tell you that he was married, and then when you found out, it's like, yeah, I am. So what? There's such a lack of honesty and character and integrity with this person. The fact that he would, one, want to see you while he's married, two, tell you that he is married, he's not leaving his wife, but he still wants to see you, and three, the audacity of him to keep reaching out is like, why would you want someone like that in your life? And I get it. You was talking to him for 2 months before you found out. So obviously you have feelings and emotions involved, which, is natural. But it's only been 2 months. So why invest another minute into a relationship or into a connection? Is not even a relationship. Why invest another minute into a connection with someone who lacks integrity, who has no respect for you or his wife, who will never be anything more to you than a fling or a whatever? Why waste any more time with him? I would advise you to continue to ignore his calls, block him even so that he can not even reach you through text or through the telephone, block his number, and move on with your life. You're 20, how would you say? 26? And he's 46 or 45? Yeah, you have a whole life ahead of you. Don't waste another minute on this guy. Like, I can say so much more, but again, it feels very obvious. And not to dismiss your feelings, not to dismiss, the emotions, but trust me, 2 months is nothing. It's a drop in the bucket compared to a lifetime of pain and misery. Not only that he will put you through, but that you're going to put yourself through trying to hold on to someone that you already know is not good for you. Uh, it's not good for even himself. So cut your losses, run while you're ahead. Don't look back, don't pass go. just, just don't even like, chalk this up as, as a fumble. in your life, a little blimp in the life of of your uh just a blip in your life. Like this is not something that you want to invest another minute into. Trust me. Um, yeah. Then the audacity to give you an ultimatum, like, yeah. Hopefully that's enough, sis. If it's not, I don't know what else to tell you. I mean, because feelings aside, or even not even feelings aside, even with the way that you feel, you have to know that this is not worth it. Like you have to know that. You have to know that you deserve so much more. You have to know that this guy does not deserve another minute of your time. Like he just does not. Um and there really is nothing to contemplate. There's nothing to discuss. There's nothing to think about. There's nothing to consider. The reality is what it is. 2 months really is not a lot of time, regardless of how far the relationship went or whatever. 2 months is not a lot of time. So cut your losses, move on. Uh, yeah. Hopefully that's enough. I mean, I don't even know what else to say. Again, very cut and dry. I'm like 15 minutes in and I've already answered 2 questions because these feel very cut and dry. So I may say more about them, if more comes up. But for now, I think that's my best advice for you. Block them on, so that he can't call you, that he can't text you. Count your losses, move on. Like literally move on. You don't owe him a conversation. You don't owe him an explanation. You don't owe him a why. Some people feel like, oh, I got to get closure. No, you don't. Like, you got closure. When he told you that he's married, that's closure enough. So that's pretty much it. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it. So hopefully that's helpful. And I would say, even to take it one step further, like if you want someone to help hold you accountable in this space, if you have a trusted friend or somebody that you can talk to, even your mutual friend. Well, I wouldn't even put your mutual friend in it, so maybe not that person. But if you have a trusted friend and say, "Hey, I got myself into this situation. Here's where I am," and maybe they can, kind of be an accountability partner for you to make sure that you don't, um, you know, let this guy back in or whatever so that they can keep checking on you and making sure that you have moved forward, and that you're not still lingering about with this dude. So hopefully that was helpful. We're gonna jump right into question number 3. Like I said, if more comes up for me, then I'll answer. I'll certainly offer more on both of those questions, but we're just going to move into question number 3. I think we might end quickly tonight, guys, if there's no questions that come in through the chat. I think we'll end a little quicker tonight. So, which is fine by me because I am a little tired tonight. Um, so let's go into this third question. Dear Dr. K, I am 42 and I recently went back to school to get my college degree. It's so hard and I'm so stressed out all the time. I'm afraid that I'm either going to fail or quit. I have a bad habit of quitting things that I start and never finish. I really want to finish this, but I feel like I won't. Can you give me any tips on how to commit and finish what I start? That is very interesting. And I'll tell you that it is there are a lot of not a lot of people, but this is not an anomaly. There are people who habitually don't finish what they start, and it sounds like you might be that kind of person based off of what you said here, where you started stuff and just didn't finish, and looking for the will or the discipline or whatever it is to make sure that you finish this thing because it's important to you. And I think that's the first bit of advice. If you already know that you are challenged when it comes to completing what you start, then you really have to put some things in place to make sure um, that you're holding yourself accountable. One of the things that I will say, especially if you're starting a degree, that's a process. So don't try to eat the whole elephant. Take it one semester at a time, take it one class at a time, one assignment as at a time. Like just really take it in chunks. You don't have to try to consume even in the idea of getting a degree. So just look at it like I'm taking this class. You take that class, you pass that class, you take your next class. Like take baby steps because sometimes it's easier to commit to just like smaller steps as opposed to like this whole big idea of, and I don't know what level of degree you're going to, but you're looking at 2 year commitment if it's an associate's, 4 if it's a bachelor's, and so on and so forth. So just take it one semester at a time, one class at a time, even one assignment at a time. Um, and the fact that you already know that you struggle with commitment and struggle with staying the course when it comes to things like this, like that's a plus. Like don't look at that as a downfall. Look at that as like you already know going into it that this is going to be at least one of the struggles that you have, staying committed. And I know a lot of times when people have a hard time committing to stuff, when people have a hard time committing to stuff, is because they're like, thinking about the bigger picture, or sometimes they feel like they are not capable or able to do something. Someone in the chat said prioritize self-care as well. Absolutely. Sometimes when we're not able to see, like if we get overwhelmed with something, then it only becomes more challenging for you to commit to something, because you can easily say, okay, this is too hard, or, and I think you said that a couple of times in your question, like it's too hard, it's too tough. So when you start looking at things like that, that is too hard, it's too tough, then you may find yourself giving yourself a reason to stop or a reason to quit. But just like there's exhortations said in the chat, prioritizing self-care. Definitely while you're in your studies, make sure that you're taking time to take care of yourself. So, for example, if you have papers, there's going to be times where you have a ton of reading to do, a ton of writing to do. But when you have that downtime, do something fun for yourself. And self care, can come in a lot of different ways. It could be spending time with friends. It could be watching a movie or binging on a Netflix program or something. It could be a number of things that you do, going to get a massage or getting your nails done or your hair, whatever self-care looks like or feels like to you, making sure that you are scheduling time to do that. I think that's another thing as well, scheduling your time, like really setting up a schedule to do the things that you have to do. So I know, with school, they usually give you a syllabus each semester. Go through the syllabus. A lot of times people don't do that. Go through the syllabus, get your calendar out, start writing out the dates where papers are due or different assignments are due. Get really organized in that way. And then that way you'll be able to see where you may have some free time or some stretches of time where you can do other things, still leading to, helping you with your program or helping you with your assignments, but not like waiting to the last minute or procrastinating and things like that, which could also be a challenge for you as well. So if you're not finishing things, sometimes you may push the hard stuff off to last, and then it becomes like a last minute, racing against the clock trying to get something done. What is that like? What is it that they always say? Just like when you get into the state of procrastination. So trying to avoid that. I would say another thing that may not be, as conventional, but I would say looking for other people. So you said that you are 42 and just going back to school. There are a lot of people who are older that's going back to college and, working on programs, various programs. So try to find like a support group. And if you can't find one, create one. I know when I started with my PhD, I reached out to other PhDs, other women that I knew who were working on PhDs. And the funny thing was, I was trying to get like a group together. And everybody was like, I'm so busy. It's so hard. I don't have time. And I was like, okay, well, maybe we can't do a group where we'll meet frequently, but do you mind if I keep your number so that I can, reach out to you periodically throughout the program so we can encourage each other throughout the program? And that's what I did. So that's a really great way of staying the course, staying encouraged, and making sure that you finish this. And I promise you, once you finish this, it's going to set the tone for everything else. Yes, social support is important. Once you finish this, it's going to set the tone for everything else. So when you finish that, the next challenge that you set for yourself, you will no longer have this history of, oh, I never complete anything, I never finish anything, it's so hard. But now you'll have this memory or this achievement or this success to look back on and say, man, I did that. If I can do that, then I definitely can do whatever this next big challenge is. So those are just a couple of things that you can do. And then I would say, again, not necessarily conventional, but I would also say speak life to your program. Speak, like, encourage yourself, say kind words to yourself. I noticed in this little short message, you said that it was hard like 3 times. You said you want to quit. Um, Talk differently, like change your language. Instead of saying it's hard, say that it is challenging. Um, and challenging is not a bad word. Challenging is a good thing. It just means that you're being stretched. So instead of saying, "Oh, this is too hard," say, "Wow, this is a challenge." Instead of saying you want to quit, say, "I'm committed. I'm anchored. I'm all in." Start talking differently, not just about the program, but about yourself specifically, and changing the narrative around how you approach. Um, New things, especially if it's something that you want to do. Nobody goes back to school just because. Um, Most times, people, especially at 42, you're going back for a reason. So it may sound cliche, but remember the reason why you started in the first place and keep that in front of you. Um, so, yeah, uh, get organized, writing down your assignments and all that stuff. Find a support group that you can connect with, even if it's one on one periodically. Um, Find mentors. You guys hear me talk about mentors all the time. Find mentors, other people who may have done what it is that you're doing. Like going back to school, believe it or not, you may feel like you're the only person, but going back to school at 42 has been done before. And so find people that who started out something new. It may not be going back to school. You have people who started businesses at 42. You have people who may have started, some other endeavor at 42 that was just as challenging, switch careers or whatever it is. So find someone who is like within your age group who set out to do something that was difficult, right, or challenging, and connect with them and see how they did it, so that they can encourage you and help you along your way. So then also being sure that you're taking care of yourself, like exhortation said in the chat, making sure that you are prioritizing self care, because that's going to help you stay mentally sharp and mentally focused, to accomplish the things that you need to do. And then there are going to be times where where you're going to have to roll up your sleeves and kind of really get in it. But if you've scheduled time to do the self-care, is like when the times get tough, then you'll be postured in position and have the energy and the strength and all that stuff, the fortitude, the clarity of mind, all that wonderful stuff to to be able to do the thing that you want to do. So hopefully that's it. Hopefully those were the points that I wanted to give. And then also a mentor is always a great thing. Um, what else? And then get all of the support, whatever support the school offers. Like a lot of times you can go to the library, they may have different, writing things that they offer. Take all the support that the school is offering. If there's tutoring that they offer, take advantage of the tutoring. If there are study groups that they offer, try to get connected to those study groups. Take advantage of everything that you can, and just really build a great support system around this effort that you're pursuing. And I think you will find it a lot easier. And then also, I think I mentioned, pacing yourself, taking it one semester at a time. Don't try to, eat the whole elephant. Take it one semester at a time. I'll tell you, when I was working on my PhD, when I tell you, I think it was probably about my third semester into the program, probably not even, probably like my fifth semester into the program, where I finally stopped crying. But it was like every semester I would be so overwhelmed, like there was so much to do, and it just felt like there was so little time, and I would literally cry. Um, I shared before about like my first semester when I got into the program. I remember it was like 3 o'clock in the morning. I had a paper due, and I'm like walking around the island in my kitchen, and I'm just like losing my mind. Like, this is crazy. What did I sign up for? Why am I doing this? And I had so many more moments like that, but when you finish, there's like nobody can take that from you. And my husband asked me, he was like, "Would you do it all over again?" And I was like, "Yeah," because I wanted the outcome. And so it's like I would obviously do things differently. I would probably organize myself a lot better. I would certainly pace myself a lot better. But for sure I would do it all over again because I wanted the outcome. And so that's what I would say to you. You set out to do this program for a reason because you want the outcome. So commit to it. Um, get those, get that support group in place, get organized, get all those things that I talked about before, get all that stuff in place and take it one semester at a time. If that feels too difficult, take it one class at a time. If that feels too difficult, take it one assignment at a time. Just take the smallest bites that you need to take in order to digest and do what it is that you need to do. So often the learning is in a process. Absolutely, absolutely. That's a whole other conversation. I talk about that off. Maybe we'll talk about that a little bit after I finish answering this question because I think that's an important point that often the learning is in a process. Um, a lot of times you see people doing things. Well, let me finish up with this question, then I want to talk a little bit more about that because I was just having that conversation with um, someone the other day, and I'll share that with you guys. But yeah, hopefully that was helpful. Just those tips. And good luck to you. Like you got this. You totally got this. So put some things in place, pace yourself. You totally got this. And you know how to reach me. So if you need somebody to encourage you, I got you. And I'll be praying for you as well. So you got this. Stay the course. You set out to do this for a reason. You got this. Um, so those were the three questions that I was going to answer this evening. And if no one has any questions in the chat, or we still have some time, but I do want to talk about this comment that was made. It said, "Often the learning is in the process." That is such a powerful comment. I was doing an interview on Saturday, and I was, we're talking about writing, all things writing and publishing and all that stuff. And the interviewer asked me to talk about my writing experience. So you guys know I'm a published author, former publisher, all that wonderful stuff. And she was asking me about my writing experience, and so I started talking about it from. I was like, "Well, I'll talk to you." Obviously, I feel like I was born to write. That's like what I love to do. I said, "But I'll talk to you. I'll start from when I first started pursuing writing as seriously." And I share with her the story of how I got started and all that. And there was a lot of things that she didn't know, and a lot of things I was sharing with her at the time that I was coming up as a writer. There were things that we had to do. Social media obviously wasn't what it is. Didn't even exist actually. The internet existed, but not in the way that it exists today. Just the opportunities that a lot of people have to do, not just become authors or published authors, but to do so many other things where they can at times seem to um, skip the process. And so that's what we were talking about. And I said, and I think a lot of times in an effort to just do stuff, people don't respect the process. They don't respect the lessons that the process has to offer. And a lot of times that's the biggest part. It's like, what did I learn while I was in pursuit of this thing? And that's where the growth is. That's where the strength comes from. That's where the lifelong lessons come from. It comes from the process. So a lot of times when we're looking to cut corners, or we're looking to try to mimic someone else's blueprint to do a thing and miss out on the opportunity to kind of go through the trenches of a thing, you really can miss like the real lesson, which is found in the process. So I was sharing with this interviewer over the weekend. When I was coming up, in in order to get published, you had to have an agent. Like you could not. There are very, very few publishers who would even look at your work unrepresented, and they would call it unsolicited material. So they would explicitly say in their instructions, "We do not accept unsolicited material." And so as a, an aspiring writer, my first pursuit after writing was trying to find an agent. And that was like its own process, its own challenge. And I was sharing with her how, I would go to the library and get the Writers Guild. Like you couldn't even rent the Writers Guild out. And I think I ended up buying one. And I'm looking at my bookshelf because I'm sure I have like an old, outdated version of the Writers Guild on my bookshelf somewhere. But at that time, you couldn't rent it from the library. You had to go into the library with your notepad. You're finding the off or the agents who represent your genre of work, and so much research that you had to do. But it was such an important process because when I went from just being an author to being a publisher, I really understood so much more about the business side of writing, which unfortunately a lot of writers don't understand. They don't understand the business side of it. So having to go through that process, I learned so many things that only made me a better publisher. Um, so I was just sharing with her, the importance and the beauty of the process. And unfortunately, that's something I think a lot of people, not just in the space of writing, but a lot of people can, tend to miss out on because they're trying to uh, get the hookup, or trying to go, a backdoor route, or whatever, But whatever it is, I just want to encourage you guys. That's why I love that comment so much. Um, just wanted to encourage you guys that don't despise the process. The process is important, and a lot of times, in fact, more times than not, all of the major lessons you're going to learn through the process. So, yeah, hopefully I was helpful. Thank you so much for making that comment because it really triggered that thought for me. So, I think those are all the questions that we are answering this evening. If anybody has a question, I'll hang on for a few more minutes, looking over IG as well as YouTube Live. But if anybody have any more questions, I'll certainly try to answer any questions in real time. Most times you guys know that these questions are sent to me and I answer them anonymously. So I don't attribute them to anybody in particular. I just answer the questions. And in some cases, I think a few weeks ago, I had a question that came in that I answered um, immediately, via email back to the person, but still share the question here on this live. So yeah, I think that's it, guys. I may start cutting. Well, I'll keep it at an hour, but if it ends, earlier than an hour, I am a million percent okay with that. Monday evenings at 8 is some days I was like Mondays are super difficult at times. So Monday evenings by 8 o'clock, I am wiped out most times. So I don't mind if I finish up a little bit sooner. Um, Looking over these questions again, and like I said, the first two are very cut and dry for me. Um, And the last one I thought was a really good one as well. So, yeah, I think that's all I have. It doesn't look like I have any questions either on YouTube Live or IG Live. So, I want to thank you guys again for tuning in. Thank you guys for sharing your thoughts and adding your questions and comments. Always very helpful. Just want to remind you guys, if you have questions or know of someone who wants to send questions in to Ask Dr. K, you can send them to me at kwanzaa@girlfriendtherapy.org. You can just email me your questions. Again, I answer them every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on YouTube Live as well as IG Live. And all the questions, again, are answered anonymously. So thank you guys for tuning in over in IG land, and thank you guys over in YouTube land. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Please share this video, like this video, comment all the wonderful things, and until next week, blessings, guys.